University of North Carolina at Wilmington is now reviewing its emergency response protocols. It's in response to a new after-action summary revealing gaps in how officials handled reports of a gunman on campus back in September. WECT's JC Caldwell looking into the summary tonight. JC, what does it say UNCW needs to improve on?
A number of things, Fran, including UNCW's emergency communications and threat monitoring, along with areas for improvement in training and coordination with partner agencies. The summary is from safety and risk firm Jensen Hughes, Inc. It also points out the recovery support was not adequate to address some of the more intense trauma that students had. As Fran, you just mentioned, this comes after a gunman hoax on campus back in September, where social media videos were shared among students of a person carrying a weapon. It prompted a shelter in place for hours. No gunman was ever found. This also comes after a bomb threat in November on campus, resulting in the evacuation of Randall and Discovery Halls. No explosive devices were found. University officials say they've already started to address necessary changes. In a statement from Chancellor Aswani Valetti on this summary, he says in part, quote, "The university will continue to review its findings and recommendations to help inform the ongoing evaluation and operation of campus safety protocols, procedures, and preparedness efforts. The safety of all students, faculty, staff, and visitors remains the #1 priority for UNCW." We have more specifics on what UNCW officials say they're doing to improve, as well as a link to that summary right now on our website. JC Caldwell, WECT News.